Yeah, this is it right here. I like this. You see everything. You see everything. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Chanel with Relationship Status Live.
Jay Powell, once again checking in. I'm a little better than last week. I was under the weather.
He's a
So
little
we back.
under the weather, y'all. So look, y'all, this show we're gonna do a redo on cheating, right? We're gonna deal with cheating. Josh and I, we're gonna break it down for you guys. You wanna talk a little bit
A
about
lot different. Well,
Go ahead.
first and foremost, to address some of the things that went on last week. Me being a part of this situation, I want us to be able to, address a lot of the different topics and subjects, but also have a much more positive spin on it, and just be able to change the way that we view certain things in certain situations. And last week, never shying away from anything, but I just felt that it was one of those times where wasn't being heard, wasn't being acknowledged, so I had to get quiet because I wasn't gonna be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I want to go on record in front of all of our followers and just extend an apology because this is our show, Josh and Chanel. So you guys won't ever see that again. We'll always be in alignment.
All right.
Yep.
2019.
2019. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get into this topic of cheating. And we want to kick it off by I want to put it out there like, well, before we come back, y'all, I want to put it out there. You guys go ahead and start thinking about it. If you're in a relationship, how do you handle cheating? So we're going to jump into that as soon as we come back. See you in a moment.
You got some water. Appreciate you.
All right, so when I come back.
So you did.
My relationship.
We gotta love the shoes.
Yeah.
I'm a Vans
Oh,
fanatic.
dang. Can they hear that on there? Should we have put the thing in there? Please do.
Oh yeah, please put that in there.
'Cause I
So
don't think
I'm
they
gonna
can
actually have to chop all this
Right.
behind the scenes and pull the show together, huh? Like when I upload it, I'm gonna have to chop all this part out. They can just watch this. Oh,
Why not? We on break. We talk about whatever we want. So did.
All right, guys, it's your girl Josh and Chanel, Relationship Status Live on 108.9, and we're going to be talking about cheating. And we're going to kick it off by, first of all, breaking down, if you're in a relationship, how do you handle cheating? And I'm going to let you take the jump start on this because I'm kind of reckless when it comes to cheating. So I don't want to take the lead on this conversation tonight.
Well, just in my opinion, I feel like, one of the first things, if you feel like your partner, whatever you guys are going through, keep that in house.
Okay.
Protect home.
Yeah,
The reason why I'm saying this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The most obvious thing that comes to mind is, somebody's being unfaithful in some type of way.
Yes.
Somebody goes outside to communicate what's going on in the house, right? Now, it's one thing if you have somebody that you can trust and you can talk to about it, but we have some people who will tell it to whomever is willing to listen. Now you have a lot of different opinions, a lot of different people that's a part of what's going on in your house. Therefore, if you decide to stay, now you're going to feel away because everybody looking at you like, well, you've been saying this and you've been saying that, so why did you choose to stay? And even if you decide to go, either way, I say protect home. Only talk to people that you really trust and you really feel like has your best interest at heart. It's a tough thing to deal with, but you want to make sure that if you are seeking some type of advice or whatever, that it's coming from somebody or a good place. Because, things happen, man. People make mistakes. Whether you decide to stay or go, you just want that thing to be right.
I'm really trying to work with you, Josh.
I know.
Because you say, you should keep it in-house, but that person should have kept it in-house before they made the decision to step outside of the relationship.
I get it.
So now that it's all around town, like, that person need an outlet. They need to be able to vent,
I agree.
Talk about it, get it off.
I agree.
And all that. So it's like time out for being nice.
But do you consider that being nice?
No.
If I'm just saying whoever you discuss it with,
yes,
just making sure it's the right person. Because whether you decide to go or stay, that decision is ultimately yours to make. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying how you go about doing it, because 9 times out of 10, for the majority who decide to give it one more chance, a lot of times, especially moving forward in the relationship, now you got all these different opinions in your stuff. So even if the guy or the young woman is trying to act right, you got outside sources who are coming in and they're trying to put their 2 cents in on what's going on moving forward if you decide to stay in a relationship.
And that all makes sense, but when you've been cheated on, you're just not thinking that rationally.
I get it.
You're not thinking about, okay, let me not talk about this because I don't want to expose this person.
I just said to the right people.
To the right people.
Right. I ain't saying not talk about it. I'm saying to the right people. That's all. Because everybody don't care. Like, you got to think, man, a lot of people in relationships, whether they married, they've been with the person for years, whether there's kids involved, it's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
So whenever something does happen, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying be mute and keep it to yourself. I'm saying just talk to the right person about it.
Right. And what about the person that actually committed the act?
Oh, he or she got to tighten up.
Like, why are we protecting them?
I'm not saying protect them at all.
Okay.
They need to be held accountable.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, too, it's just a way that you go about doing it.
Let me ask you this. You said they need to be held accountable.
Yes.
What does that look like? Because I hear people say hold them accountable, but I mean, you can put it out there and you can acknowledge it and you can make them acknowledge it, but what does that really mean?
Okay, so for example, if it's a situation where, a woman has been cheated on by a guy, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical again. But if she's feeling whatever she's feeling from that situation, then she needs to make a decision on how she wants to move forward with it. If that is a deal breaker for her, then walk away.
It is not. Why is it so cut and dry with the men? Like, if it's a deal breaker, walk away.
Because that's a part of the accountability.
Because when we're going through situations like that as women, it's not that clear cut and dry. We want to walk away. We want to stay. We want to kill you. We want to beat your ass. We want to do all that. It's not that clear cut and dry. What is it, Paris? It's not that clear, cut and dry. And so when I hear a man say, if it's a deal breaker, walk away, that's like the hardest thing when you care, when you really care about somebody. It's not that we want to stay, but we want to take you through hell. Like we want to make you suffer.
Mm.
And again, I understand that.
Go ahead, Paris.
But what I'm also saying is too, Paris, let me knock this out real quick before you jump in. I understand that people go through a process when they've been hurt.
Yes.
So for one, you're not gonna necessarily make a person feel as bad as they already should feel. Like a tit for tat type thing ain't the way to go about it.
You think they feel bad? You think they feel bad?
People know, man. You hurt somebody that you care about.
Then why are you doing it in the first place?
Even if they don't show that,
yeah,
they still feel that.
They still feel something.
They may not come out and say it. They may act like they don't care. But people, when you love somebody and you truly care about them, then you feel that. Even when you made a mistake and it's just your fault for the mistake, then you feel that.
But is it really a mistake?
The decision.
When they made the decision, and they know that there's repercussions for that decision, but they still do it.
Yes. I don't.
Loyalty and love ain't the same thing.
That's true too. Absolutely.
So what is that again? What does accountability look like? Does it mean we're not going to be intimate? Does it mean we're going to move out the house? What does it mean? Like, how is it that you're being held accountable? Because
so that's why I said for some people that is a deal breaker. And you do have some people that literally will pack up and walk away.
Yeah.
So Chester says once the cheating has happened, there is no relationship.
That might be that person's deal breaker.
That might be that person's.
There are other people, right, that love and care about the person, as you mentioned. So then therefore maybe they need to take a break. There needs to be some type of separation. They need to be having a lot of conversations to really figure out what the process looks like moving forward.
So let me ask you this about the conversations, because, a lot of times in my experience with men, you have that conversation, but we as women, we want to have that conversation until we find a certain level of peace with the situation. And a lot of times with the man, once you have the conversation one time, they don't want to talk about it no more. And that don't work for us. We want to talk about it as much as we need to talk about it until we're over it, until we feel like you're remorseful, until we feel like, you are sorry.
Well, only one person, I guess, is really gonna know that, because if it's up to you, some women feel like a man is never sorry. You know what I mean? I hate to say that, unfortunately, but that's the realization of some situations. You can have guys that break their backs to try to let the woman know how genuine they are, how apologetic they are, all of those things, and a woman will still drag them through the mud. All I'm saying is, on either end, we all need time to heal. We need to take time to separate from each other and really and truly figure out what it is that we want to do. And then moving forward, whenever you're going through that process, whoever is on the other side of it, just holding that person accountable. But then the person who's been hurt needs to be held accountable too, because you have to be open enough and willing to forgive. Because love just ain't going to be enough. Like, again, somebody's efforts could be A1.
See,
and it's not being seen, it's not being felt because of the pain that the other person has experienced, and they feeling like, oh, well, I need you to do this, and then they do it, or they trying their best, and you're not trying to hear that. Like, it's got to be open across the board, the person who's been hurt as well as the person who's done the hurt.
See, if it was just as simple as and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, the man, he committed an act. He did that. He acknowledged it. It's not as simple. It's not that simple. Because for one, if you're cheating, we're looking at ourselves like, what did we do wrong?
Yes.
What is it about us, that would cause you to go and be that with someone else? And then also, like, how much did you engage this person before you even got to that point? Like, what have you been doing?
Right.
So how do you work through that? Like, it's a hit to the self-esteem, the ego. You begin to question the very essence of who you are as a person, your value, your self-worth. All of that is affected when someone cheats.
Yes.
So, a couple commenters say one is saying that wanting the other person to suffer is human, but maturity lets you handle it differently. And another says causing suffering just creates more hurt and pain. Just leave. And on that, I honestly agree. And I think in the point earlier that you were making, Chanel, is like when you're trying to like talk to them and you're trying to basically get some type of sense of closure. In that situation, I think a lot of individuals in general make the mistake of what you're trying to do in that situation is get the other person to heal you. And there's no way that that can necessarily happen unless you separate yourself from the situation. You have to forgive yourself and you have to forgive that person and find a peace of mind on your own, and then possibly come back and have that conversation and see about the closure. But I do think that I've even been in this on the backside of it, trying to get that closure, like going in on it again and again and again. And it's like, I wasn't giving myself the time to heal, to even be approaching that situation sensibly, because you're just so hurt. And that does cloud a lot of your judgment. And you're not even really in a space to be able to forgive them yet.
Right.
Because you haven't taken enough time alone.
So how much time do you think you should take?
And that's
however much you need. That varies person to person.
And that's another thing I was saying, just piggyback off of what she's saying. I had mentioned that before, like where people have to be in a space where they're open to hear that. First of all, is no set amount of time in which a person may need to even get to the point to be open, right? There are some people, you know, as I've listened to different shows and different people who've gone through certain things, that somebody could have cheated 7 years ago and they're still going through those things. You know, it's just a process. But at the end of the day, if both parties are willing and they're in a space where they're open to working together to fix it, then all you could do is try. And just approach it day by day, because you might have something that triggers you, right? And that upsets you with your partner. He has to be patient with you and be understanding of that.
See, that's
Josh.
What you're talking about.
And I understand that, but that's why I'm trying to express that, because men all over, we need to be more patient and be more understanding, because it's not an overnight thing. And on the flip side, when it's a man that's on the other end of it, you know, I would want to, if I'm deciding to stay with the person, then I know that I'm making that decision to do so, then I need to be open. I need to be understanding, first and foremost, as Paris said, forgiving myself, forgiving them, and putting myself in a space to be open to working on that once again. You know what I'm saying? Because if you make that decision, make that decision. Don't be kind of in and kind of out. That ain't the way it works, because love don't work that way. We don't love each other. We don't love our kids. We don't love our family members double dutching on that line. Either we do or we don't. So that's the thing that we have to do when it comes to relationships. You dig?
All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap the how do you handle cheating when we come back. Relationship status on 108.9.
I think that was good, because that kind of touches on the point. If someone cheats and then like initially you're thinking like, oh, like some people like throw it away immediately, but they haven't actually taken enough time to be like, maybe I actually do want to stay. So that's why it's important. I feel like if somebody cheats on me today or whatever, like I'm not talking to you for a minute, because I just need my own space to think, to figure out if I want to stay or not. Because if you decide to stay, you have made a decision. You have to be accountable for that decision to stay. You can't keep punishing that person after you have decided.
Now they're willing to work through it, and you can see the effort on their part. That's a little bit different.
But I think that should happen.
But
before
a lot of
you
people
even
don't
get
do
back
that
together.
though.
You shouldn't even. Yeah, I feel like you should put them on ice first.
Put them on ice first.
Yeah, put them on ice first, and let them earn it back first. If you're gonna like test that out, let them earn their relationship back first.
Yeah, because they're not even seeing it, because so many people, the person who's been hurt, especially this day and age, what's the first thing you see a lot of men do? Well, obviously it's us on the other end of it. So the first thing you see us do is we buying a bigger ring, we copy this, we throwing the person. Now we want to celebrate them and show how much we love them. Like, there's a lot of other things that we do.
I'll drink beer. I'll drink. Oh, okay.
I want a beer.
Look, what?
My birthday is next Saturday. I am about to be 24.
Yeah, OG.
Touchy topic.
So far, so good.
very, but again, across the board, like they just gotta make that decision, man. In everything that you do. I know there are a lot of emotions are attached.
That's where you gotta give yourself that space.
But yeah, it's either like just take whatever time you need because if you feel the person is working, just take whatever time you need. And then a lot of times too, right? A majority of the time that I'm gonna say majority, there's a lot of times where people do cheat and it's like things that have happened in a relationship that haven't been acknowledged that come with that. And I'm not saying that me and her together, so it's like, well, you ain't doing this, so I'm gonna go do this. Like that shit's not cool. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but it's been a disconnect for so long, and we not addressing it. Now all of a sudden, somebody hitting her with the good morning bullshit. She like, damn, I don't even know what that sound like. So just that small little thing, she on it, and then somebody come my way, and they might want to hear the craziest thing that could be on my mind that my girl didn't want to hear. And now I'm like, shit, I could talk to her. And just that small thing right there, you already on something else. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, we gotta work on that and figure that part out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't enough of that that's going on. Because the minute somebody's doing something, we're so quick because we're I gotta have it now. Generation, like everything, internet, everything is like right here at our fingertips.
Thank you.
So when something doesn't go the way that we want, we actually stays left. Because somebody out there, they always tell you too on all the clips, all the memes, if he ain't gonna do it,
somebody else will.
If she ain't gonna do it, she gonna do it. That's true. That's all you do.
Somebody want to know, how do you know who the right person is?
You gotta feel that, man.
Yeah,
for real.
That's so tough. Some of them questions be so tough.
You put your headphones on. I'm gonna get you used to this intro, so you'll hear how it starts.
Okay.
Yeah, we're about. Yes, sir. So you'll hear how it sounds because this will be the intro for when you come on. So I just want you to hear it a couple times,
Okay.
and then you'll know when to come on.
Okay.
Basically, even if you take that time apart, that doesn't mean you forgive them.
That's okay. But again, that's a part of the decision. When you decide to go and stay, that's everybody's different.
Power 108.9. It's your girl Chanel on Power 108.9.
Josh Powell here.
Relationship status. Guys, we've been talking about cheating and we wanted to wrap up, how do you handle cheating? And I was just saying, if you have someone who's willing to put the work in, then that always makes it a lot easier. But a lot of times the other person doesn't necessarily want to put that effort in. That's not the norm.
Can I make a quick point?
Go ahead and make your point.
A lot of times there are people who are willing and have been putting the work in, but when the work doesn't measure up to what the person feels, then they still taking the L. I know.
I don't know nobody like that.
I've been unfaithful, so I know how hard it is. When a person don't want to see, don't want to acknowledge your efforts, I know how hard it is.
How hard is it, Josh?
It's hard. It's hard. You can pray, you can love them, you can do everything in your powers. It's hard when the person is not in the space to forgive, which is the first thing that you got to do.
But
it's hard.
Let me ask you this though, because those efforts came after what? Did the efforts come after they found out on their own? Did you go and tell them what you did and you was remorseful and said, okay, I want to make it work? Like, you got to create the context.
In my opinion, sometimes the context don't even matter because you've done the act.
But I'm saying
the act is done. It don't matter how you get it.
But it's hard to trust. Like,
it's very hard to trust.
So I'm saying, like, it's one thing if you came to me and you said, I cheated and, this is what happened and I really want to work on what we had. That's one thing, because I'm going to be devastated, but I'm going to hear what you're saying because I want to know all the details at that point.
So if I said the same thing and I got caught, that makes it...
It makes it absolutely different because I'm like, are you really sorry? Like, are you really remorseful? Or are you just saying that because you got caught? Because if you hadn't got caught, I wouldn't have known and you'd still be doing what you were doing.
And we can say that I could have stopped right after that. we could play devil's advocate with that all day. Again, like at the end of the day, I got caught one way or the other, whether I was caught or I came out and said what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm genuine and I'm trying my best to make it work,
Why cheat in the first place?
it depends.
But what drives you to that point?
I'm not saying that it makes it right. When I was doing it, I'm not even gonna be that type of person to blame somebody else. I'm gonna take ownership on me.
Okay.
I did what I was doing. I had some things that I needed to figure out. I was empty. I was numb, and I was just on bullshit. So I made decisions that weren't the best decisions for me to make, and I own me. I ain't gonna ever put nothing else out there.
See, it's hard to be mad at somebody when they say that.
There are a lot of other guys who feel that way, who can come to that frame of thought.
I think more so than we would like to believe.
Yeah, more than it's portrayed, because I do think some guys like to put on like they're happy to be a player, they're happy to be a cheater. But
no, ain't
if you really
happy for that,
if you really with somebody and you really care about them, you feel remorse. You feel that.
I don't care what somebody's situation is. They grew up in the streets. I don't care, man. When people are all human, we love.
Mm-hmm.
We want that.
Mm-hmm.
People want somebody that's solid in their corner. They want a partner, man.
Yeah,
that's what people want.
But you weren't thinking about that. So that brings about the next question. What do you do if you're beginning to think the grass is greener on the other side? Like, how do you even?
Talk,
you got to talk.
Better have that talk ASAP.
What does that talk sound like? Do you go to a person and say, "Hey, I'm checking for so and so"? Like, what do you say?
No, in my opinion, if I'm unhappy, I'm gonna go to my partner. I'm gonna say, "Listen, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with how things are going. I feel like we're not communicating. I feel like there's no trust. Whatever the issue is, I need to come out and say it, because at least I'm gonna take that leap first before I just sit up here and just start going and doing something on my own. I'm gonna have the conversation. I have had the conversation. I'm letting you know that in my past marriage, I had the conversation.
Okay.
I just failed miserably after the fact.
But you still did it.
I failed.
Even after the conversation.
I failed. I had multiple conversations. I'm just saying, I had multiple conversations.
Okay.
And I own everything that I did. I had multiple. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I got married at what, 23, 24. I had multiple conversations. And I just felt like in my situation, I was going unheard. So, and therefore, in my mind, I started going here, going there. Like, it wasn't the right thing for me to do.
So it sounds like there's a sense of rebellion there. Like, I'm not being heard, so I'm gonna go my own way.
No, in my life, for 36 years, I've been through a lot, and I know for me, we all have our mechanisms, the way that we deal and cope with things. Mm-hmm. And I know how I cope.
Okay. You want to be more explicit with that? How you cope?
I just, like, for me, I used to smoke. I used to drink heavy. You know, I used to do a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And in my journey, I had to grow. I had to grow the fuck up and start owning, you know what I'm saying, mine, and do my part. And I couldn't focus on what the other person was doing. I had to literally take some time for myself and continue to build and continue to grow and stop blaming, praying.
So when you're going through that, how are you engaging your significant other and engaging that other person? Like, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, when I'm in love with someone, I can't imagine having someone else touch me. I just can't.
It's different for you. Like, you know, for the most part, women feel that emotional, you know, for them to get, it's like these different stages. Like, us as men, we could sit up here and go to this extent and then come back home. It's just different.
Come back home and do what?
I don't know how to explain it.
Pretend like it never happened?
That or whatever. Just keep it moving.
What does keep it moving mean?
Just like what you just said. Just keep it pushing. Like, act like nothing is going on.
There's one comment that says, on the topic of like talking about it, he's saying like, figure out what needs haven't been met so that both of you can work through them.
Facts.
But I think on the other end, like if you're talking to your partner and you're feeling like you haven't been heard, it's your place to have accountability to end the relationship.
Yes.
Instead of cheating or doing whatever else, because then now you're burning a different type of bridge, and now you're putting yourself in a place to be a villain in a situation where you could have walked away
Facts.
a little bit more peacefully.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
She should have been the person standing on my shoulders. I'm just saying, man. But this is the thing, though. I knew that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people know. It's just you just make certain decisions because you just might be all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're human. Like, I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just certain ways that you might be crying out for help or whatever. You just out here. And again, it don't have to always be physical. You
Right.
can have somebody that's just listening to you.
I'm just trying to figure out how you expect to go back home and engage that person on any level, knowing that you've done what you've done, especially when it's physical.
I think there's always a sense of remorse there. They're just trying to like hope to be able to live with that guilt and maybe take it to their grave, but it always comes out.
Yeah, like
John,
what?
Like,
John,
like, yeah.
I want to hear. What does that mean? What's going on there?
You thought you was gonna be able to get away with it?
She made a great point. No, but for me, I spoke my piece, and I came out about things that I've done.
So you admitted it instead of having it to be found out by her.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm the type. I cheated like once, but my heart wasn't in it anyway.
See, no, that's
Is
not
this
fair.
the-
Was
is
the
this the-
other
is this
person's
the
heart
re-
in it? Hold up now. Was the other person? Because that's not fair.
I
That's
didn't
just
say it was
basically
fair.
literally like what he said. He
Okay,
was-
let me ask you this. We're gonna flip this. What should you have done?
Right.
Yeah. God don't like ugly. What should you have done? What should you have done? You're
What
not happy. Let's ask you now. Knowing what you know now, being in the space that you're in now,
See,
what should you do now?
what
if you're
I
in that
should
position?
have done is ended the relationship. This is the thing. This is why I don't do casual dating now. Because when you just date because I always wonder, like, being a single woman, like, why do you see other people? They're always in a relationship. Like, what's the deal? But some people date just to date. They cannot even be attracted to the person. And so when I was younger, I would find myself dating just to date. And I was friends with this gentleman. And after a while, like we spent a lot of time together. After a while, I was like, you know what, this is not really what I want, but maybe it's what I need because he was giving me the attention that I wanted. But I knew from day one, he wasn't who I wanted. And so the moment that I met someone that I really liked, I went for it. And it was a disaster. Like, he was hurt, and and in that moment, I really didn't even care, honestly.
So then really that's honestly your answer to your question before, like, if you've cheated on someone and then like how do you feel going back to the person who you're with? It's
I'm
like,
not going back.
but I'm saying, like,
I'm not.
so did you cheat and then it came out right immediately then, and then that was then and that? Or
Yeah, it was like, I don't think it wasn't a full-fledged cheat. I had started talking on the phone.
Okay, so it
with
was
a
more of an
particular
emotional
person.
cheating.
Yeah, and but I wanted to explore. But this other person, he was continuously around. And so it got to the point, because at the time, this was years ago, y'all, like probably 20 years ago.
How long did this go on?
This was a long time ago.
No.
But how long did it go
on?
It went on. It didn't go on long, because the moment that I decided that I liked this other guy, and like I was starting to kind of push the other guy away. Like, I was a flight attendant at the time, and when I would come home, he would want to hug, and I started making myself busy, so he wouldn't.
Oh,
hug
y'all
me or
live
touch
together?
me. No, he would come to my house and like wait for me.
So
to come
how
home.
long so he had a key?
Yeah, he had a key. He probably did. have a
Okay,
key.
so how long did
But
this
he didn't
go on?
live there. He didn't live there.
But how long did this go on?
It didn't go on. Once I met this gentleman and I talked to him, probably maybe a month or so.
That's a long time.
Month.
That's a long time, Chanel.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Brain
something happened and it set me off, and I let him know what was going on, and I asked him to leave my house, and it was very dramatic.
Was he
to
getting
say the
bills?
least.
Was he a spotter?
Chanel, I'm just trying to bail you out, sis.
Bail
Come on,
me
wrap this
out.
thing
All
up.
right, guys.
Please.
Relationship status, Power 108.9. We'll wrap this up when we get back, guys.
Oh, so you was just oh geez.
Too much. She won't dig it. She talking like that. He's a nice guy. Just wasn't attracted to him. He just wasn't what I wanted. That's why. Devastated. That's why I don't do it no more. That's why now. Yeah, that's why now I don't do the.
So with me, I'm invested.
I didn't know how to tell him though. I'm gonna tell y'all.
You got some people out here that really feel like they're doing everything in their power in their relationship. You got some women that feel like it's enough just to cook, clean, take care of home, and have sex with you. You got some women that feel like, well, I'm a good woman. When he come home, that food hot. When he come home, the house is clean. Everybody fed, and ain't no problems. And then when he wants, oh my God. That's where the big part of the disconnect is. There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of women that feel like they eat whatever thing. There's a lot of men that feel like I'm a good woman. I make sure you're protected. Make sure I sleep with you enough and do whatever. And I, do all little things here and there, but then it ain't enough because they only might want that connection. They might want conversation. They might want.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's a lot of different things from either side that ain't being met.
So then that's where you have a conversation and find out what's not being met.
I know, but some people, that's my point. Some people feel like they are doing everything in their power. Mm-hmm. They really feel that way. They don't get it because you might go and talk to them and say, look, I want to have conversation. We need to connect. Like, give me something. Mm-hmm. Well, what you mean? I feel like we have a good time. There are people that really in their mind feel like they're doing everything in their power. And you can't tell them that.
Even after you've spelled out what was wrong?
Trust me. Trust me. No disrespect. You feel me? I'm only going to speak for me because I can't speak for nobody else that I've dealt with.
Right. I'm
just letting you know. There's some people out here, man, that really feel like they are A1 with it. And you can't tell them otherwise. Mm. That there's truth to that. Yeah, there is truth to that. Because sometimes people like they go through some shit and then it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because you're now talking about things that you weren't talking about before. Mm. And it's unfortunate that it takes some guy to text your girl for you to tighten up, or for some other female to be doing whatever with your dude for you to tighten up. But there are people out there that don't get it. I come to you and be like, look, man, I appreciate what you're doing, but this is the love language that I need. This is what I need. Can you give me that? And they'll be like, girl, I'm doing it. What do you mean? I'm a good woman. I'm a good wife. I'll cheat on you. They talk about what they don't do, or what they feel like they are doing, and they ain't heard one thing that you said. Mm. If your love, Absolutely.
Because now what happens, the longer and longer
Yeah, things
you
change.
change. And if
You
you're
get older,
not
yeah.
on top of that, that's
It's important, bro.
Now they're like, well, why? This has been good enough for all these years. Why all of a sudden it's not good?
Now
enough?
you comfortable.
Now you comfortable.
Now you at a
can't
point
be
now where you
in your
comfortable.
relationship.
Because now I know how to cheat and get away with it. I know how to do this over here. I can do this right here, and we can be good. And people are doing that religiously. It's nothing.
Because now, like I mentioned, wife and I, we've been married for 22 years.
This motherfucker, you like a T-Rex out here.
Damn. When in the beginning, it was all about, cooking and sex and all that kind of stuff. In the beginning, that was kind of, and as you get older,
Man,
all of that stuff.
you need that connection. Yeah, you need that connection.
Does she have my back? Do I have her back? Does she get tough? Can I go to her? Her grow shit? What's the exit strategy? We got kids trying to get them off to college. That becomes more priority than the shit that we did when we were younger. And if you're not having those conversations consistently, that's when
you lose the connection. People don't understand. Every day, you got to fight for the person you with.
You gonna?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
So you can start with the question once I do the intro.
That's a good question, dude. That's tough.
Okay. So am I gonna say Josh's name instead of him? I want you to be engaged.
I'm engaged when we get on air. This your thing.
Oh, okay. Fine. Tell me one more time what to say. Got it.
Yeah, let's go start with the question first.
Got it. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we're back. Relationship Status Live, Josh and Chanel. We're talking about cheating. Paris, you got a question for us?
All right. So, do men typically cheat more mentally or physically?
Physically. Women cheat more mentally and emotionally. I think
that's a really good question though. I think that by society standards we would want to say physically, but I think too that a lot of or in general, but I think too that there are a lot of situations where guys enjoy engaging in conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's always outliers. Yeah. Always. And sometimes I feel like
they don't feel like, that's the other thing, they don't feel like, again, because we talking about cheating, they don't feel like that's wrong. Just like a lot of women don't feel like, I'm just having a conversation. People will break down stuff and be like, that's not wrong. If I ain't touching them, it ain't cheating. There are a lot of people that feel that way.
I think that's an emotional affair.
Sometimes I feel like even if the guy is feeling like he's lost the emotional connection within his relationship, he will still take on the physical form of cheating more so sometimes necessarily than forming another emotional attachment with another woman, especially if he's been scarred by the fact that, like, dang, my girl, like, she not emotionally here for me. Let me try to fill this void physically somewhere else. Right. Because they may still actually want their relationship with their girl.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but how do you work through that though?
You ain't gotta be a man and talk about it.
What's wrong, Josh?
He played too much.
What he do? What category does Pornhub.com fall in? Mental or physical?
See, I'm gonna stay out of this.
I don't know. I know what y'all trying to play me. I know what Pornhub
Of course she knows. She got an account.
How you what?
I'm playing. I don't want no smoke. Let me stop. Y'all don't believe that. Let me.
I'm glad we're all adults.
But listen,
That is definitely physical.
That's physical.
Huh?
Pornhub?
That's not.
That's physical?
That's
How is that mental more than physical though?
How is it physical?
Why are you even on Pornhub? Is a sexual site.
So you might like to just look at it.
You're definitely.
you shouldn't be doing
Yes.
it. You should. So let's clear that up. You shouldn't be doing it.
What?
Wow. But what if somebody goes on there to like learn something? Listen,
Oh,
never mind.
wait, I'm gonna say that. Somebody said it's neither. It's not cheating if your partner is okay with it. Some relationships,
That's
some
true,
some
too.
couples
There we
literally
go.
watch it together.
Some
Right.
save us.
That's not necessarily cheating. I don't really think of Pornhub as being cheating at all.
I don't think it's being cheating. I don't think it's cheating.
that's not
either.
cheating
So if you
unless
sneak
you're
and
like
watch
making it a count and
he
like
would
trying
have
to
to
meet
sneak-
up with.
I mean, as long as he's not obsessive with it,
Okay, well you're okay with it.
I'm personally okay with it.
Okay.
that's not cheating.
All right.
And that prevents him from going out and doing it somewhere else.
No,
right?
he need to come talk to me now. If he got a need that needs to be fulfilled, he need to have a conversation with me.
That's why y'all can watch it
That's
together.
my job. Yeah, that's my job. I'm there. I take that job real serious.
What other questions you got, P?
I take that job real serious.
Sip some water.
Basically, people just saying that that porn is okay in a relationship for new and exciting skills. That can be healthy.
I'm definitely
I want my man to watch porn with me. I think it's fun.
salute.
That's y'all and y'all's couple.
Beck
now.
says she's taking a class.
All right.
Drop the phone.
Beast mode, Beck. Church. You the real MVP.
All right. Let's see here. You're viewing it and being physical with yourself.
We on radio, y'all.
Right.
Okay. Someone says basically just piggybacking off of earlier, saying that relationships change and need growth, just as individuals need growth. And you also need change as you mature.
And that's something that we spoke on, during the break. I mean, at the end of the day, whether there's no cheating involved, whatever the case may be, for us that are in relationships, good people, make sure every day you fight for your partner. Every day. You got to start over this. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that person for granted. Love them, cherish them, hold them, keep them close. Please.
And that's coming from a man.
Love is a beautiful thing when you have two people who are equally on the same mission.
Absolutely.
Want the same goals. They want to build the same thing together. It is not man versus woman or woman versus man. This is us together. Let's do this thing together. Please fight for each other, man. Real love, that's real, that's deep, that's amazing. And plus, you're passing that connection on to other people, to your kids or anybody else that's watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more people that we have good examples, the better we're able to bring this gap closer and closer together.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Josh and Chanel, Relationship Stats Live on 108.9.
0.9.
Power 108.9.
Power.
Power.
Pow.
We only got a few more minutes on
Yeah,
that.
we ain't got but
unless
4
y'all
minutes.
wanna exit out and come back in and close it, but
No, that's fine because we're going to use the footage from here in here. So that's cool.
And we had a lot of good, we got everything, right? We got a lot of good stuff during the break. Yeah, that's good.
from my journey? Oh. Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh wait, the guest attorney. Wait, no, I knew you was. I knew. Wait, is she really like that?
They talking on here today. It's Mo. I eat. Yeah.
Right. You gonna recap the show this evening. We gotta recap.
Or run through a lot of stuff we talked about.
Just give your closing thoughts.
And then Chanel, when we come back, right when we hear music, we gotta go out. And we come back, we're gonna wrap this thing up.
So we got another break to go?
You got trash
I'm gonna
can.
break it down into two.
Okay.
This man ain't got nowhere to speak.
Look at your face. We on camera, Josh, too.
She said when a woman told her long ago that every day she had to fight for her marriage, she naively thought, I don't want anything that I have to fight for every day. That was at like 21. Now I get it.
Okay. So we got two more. We got one more break. So what I'm gonna say this time?
We could read these.
Hey, welcome back. Josh Chanel, Powell,
Mhm.
Hey, this is recap what we talked about. Here's what we learned today. Let me know. Here's what we learned today. So that'll be the final deal of the album.
Okay,
Here's what we learned today.
I'll just.
You got it?
Okay, I got it.
I'm gonna be.
She's gonna knock it out the park.
No,
Last
I
time
was gonna say
she
one thing. You
she
gonna
was double dutching in that thing, waiting for the beat to come on. She had to catch the rhythm, and then she was like, "Got it."
Me and Coach.
Y'all mess me up. Yes, I'm ready. Hey y'all, it's your girl Chanel. Josh over here, relationship status on Power 108. What is it? Power 108.9. I'm sorry. We're gonna go ahead and recap tonight's show and talk about what we learned. One of the things that I learned tonight is if it's worth it, fight for it. Like I think of everything that we talked about, that's what ring out the loudest to me. What about you, Josh?
I think that one reoccurring theme as we go show after show after show is communication. It's just people being open and being honest about where they're at, what they're feeling, and going from there. Another thing too is being willing to forgive yourself, being willing to forgive the other person.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you're going to stay or if you're going to leave. That is a huge part in the healing process.
That's good. That's real good. Forgiveness. Something I've always had a difficult time doing. I'm working
It's
on
hard.
it though.
We all done been there.
I'm working.
We all done
Take
been
your
there.
space.
And take your space.
Church.
Honor yourself.
All right, guys. Oh. What's the comments over the Paris?
Oh, someone said, oh Lord. From before we were talking about
That's
fighting
fine
for
over
the
here.
person. She said keyword partner, significant other, not fighting for someone you're not with. Because some people out here fighting for someone else's man or woman. Ooh, child.
Ooh.
Can you say that again for the folks in the back? I think somebody missed that.
Listen,
Keyword. That's
That's real. Like somebody
Mm.
missed that. We can run that back, please.
run that back.
Yeah.
Keyword partner.
partner.
Significant other. Not fight for someone you're not with. Folks out here fighting for someone else's man, woman.
That's a bar.
We'll come back.
When we come back, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Relationship status, Josh and Chanel.
Power
108.9.
You can't mess it up because it's right there. What is that?
I'm gonna say that. Trash, man.
Do what? Okay. What are your thoughts? I got you. Hey guys, it's your girl Chanel. Relationship status with Josh over there. We're gonna go ahead and close it out. Stay tuned for next week's topic next Thursday, 9 p.m. Same spot. Relationship status live on Instagram.